Okay, so this is my third development log, I believe. No, fourth. And I'm coming to the end of the actual development of the game. There's still a lot more that I'd love to add, but I don't really have the time to add it. And since I am taking the art pathway for my game instead of the programming one, I've decided to focus more on the actual art of my game instead of actually getting it working. So from first glance you can see a lot has changed from the last update. In the last update we didn't have this bar here or this big, I could just turn that off now, that big thing there. I've still got programming to do on that. That's the game over thing. Got to do the mission win and mission lose. So I actually got enemies to work in my game, because in the last update there was no enemies, or at least I don't think there was. So if I just press play on my game, hopefully it's not too loud. I'll just turn it down. If I just press play, you can see if it loads. Come on. The animation for my game is new. So instead of the lemon just shooting up and down, it's spinning around now. And these orange things which are coming down, they're the water molecules which I done the concept art for on my first week of development. They changed from red to orange. I thought this was a nice change because colour themes of the games are like yellows, greens and oranges. So I thought red was really out of place in the game. And you see these bubbles here? I can't get them to completely work. They were going to shoot absolutely everywhere, like all around the character. But unfortunately, I couldn't get that to work properly. That's probably going to be something I can focus on later on in the summer, maybe. So the bubble enemies, they have more health than normal enemies. These normal enemies here, the molecules, they only have 2 health, whereas the bubbles have 50 health, which means they're harder to kill, obviously, and they take much more bullets than the player shoots. Now the player has 20 health. I changed this from 10 because I thought they died too quickly, but I didn't want too much of a drastic change because I didn't want the player to be immortal. So I'll just explain more changes I've done. So you see this bullet here, the bullet that the bubbles shoot. I changed that from that yucky, well, you didn't see it because I didn't make a development video when I was making the bubbles, but they had a really yucky yellow colour. So I changed it from that colour to this nice orange colour, so it fits in more with the theme of the game. Another thing I added, if you can see, after the bullets get shot from the player and the enemies, they have this sort of trail going after them. And that trail was done by getting, if I just get it up here, you go, I forgot where I put it, I'll go into prefabs. The bubble bullet has a trail renderer after it. I never knew what this was at first. I've done some research on it and I found it to be really useful. And I think it looks really nice. It gives a nice effect as if the bullet was actually shooting towards the player. So that's what I done to make the bullets look more shooty, if that makes sense. Now this UI here, I haven't got it working. I would like to get it to work, obviously, but as I'm doing the art pathway, I want to focus more on art. I've already said that, but I just thought it looks quite nice with, so this part here consists of, it's actually a UI item, it's not just an image. So the health slider, and that can change, but it changes wrong. It goes from that to that, so it should really go bottom to top, but that just messes it up. I'll fix that later on though. Now I've messed everything up. Oh god. I'll fix that later. No. Oh well. So another thing I did shoot was, let me just fix this quickly. That'll do. So another thing I did was, if I show you the game in scene view whilst I'm playing it. So, you see how, oh seriously, why isn't it working? Oh right, my mistake. It's in here. So, let's just do this again. So you see how the enemies here despawn when they get outside the play box. I done this by getting a destroy by bounds boundary, and it basically, you see this green line here, goes along, and whenever the enemy leaves, so it's tagged to the enemy, not the player, otherwise the player would have been despawned. Whenever the enemy leaves this green line, they'll get despawned. It's just like you see the bubbles here, it's more clear with the bubbles. I should really do that with the bullets as well, because the bullets going all the way down. So yeah, you can see on the hierarchy here how the molecules are being deleted and destroyed when they leave that boundary. That was quite hard to get working, but I got it working and I'm quite proud of myself. I got it working with help from Ash and YouTube videos and stuff. So hopefully you can hear the background music in here, I'm not too sure. Let me just make that louder. Come on. It's being terribly slow today. So you can hear the background music, right? So when I shoot, you get the shooting sounds, and when it's got background music as well. That's another thing. I changed all the background music. That's on my development log, because I thought the songs I had beforehand really poor quality. I wanted something of higher quality and more original. So I took Beethoven and Chopin songs and I put them through this program called GSXCC or something like that, and it's sort of like, it changes MIDI files into 8-bit songs. Oh, and another thing is when the player gets hit, they have that little damage sound. So that's another thing I added. I tried my best to get the animations working. In the end, I didn't get them working. I'm still trying to get them working. So if I just show you, that's sprites, lemon. So the lemon has all these different animations. If I just size this up down here, this part down here, it has this animation, and then this one's this normal spinning one, and then it has this one where because that's its opened up form, so it goes from that, and then it goes inwards, and then like that, and then it does the normal left-right shooting thing that I did in the old game, and then it does that for the bigger version. But I did quite like the spinning animation, so I made that the default animation. But I do also like this one as well. I'm not too keen of these ones, but it was in my concept art, so I decided to make it. Pardon me. Another thing I made was I remade the enemy bubble. So it used to be this one, if you remember, and that just wasn't nice. I didn't like it. It was just very basic, and I wanted to improve upon it. So what I did was I got a picture of a bubble on Google, and I sort of made a nice version of it, I guess. But then I tried different colours. So if you go on my development blog, there's a link in the description. You can see all of the different coloured and colour palettes I went through to try and see which one looks the best in my game. And in the end, I came up with this one here, and it has it's got two different sprites, so this sprite and that sprite, but they fade between each one using tweening on Photoshop. And another thing I did, let's think. So yeah, I tried to get all of my animations to work. I could only get one working, so I need to work on that tomorrow. Scripts. So if we go into my scripts folder, I made a sound manager script. This one's one of the big ones. I probably won't open Visual Studio, I'll probably annotate it here. So if I uploaded all of the sound effects into a separate folder, and then I referenced it in here. So I told it to load the resource fire 1, fire 2, pick up negative, pick up positive, and play a hit. And I forgot where I saved everything. Music. No, it's not in music. It's in resources. So fire 1, fire 2, pick up negative, pick up positive, play a hit, and select. I put them all in a separate folder called resources and not music, because they're sound effects and they're completely different from music. And I referenced them all in the script, and I made a public variable for all of the audio clips, and every time this one just tells us that every time a audio is loaded in the game, it only plays it once, so that's what play one shot is. And then after that it breaks the sound, so it doesn't loop over, for example, because that would just be weird. You'd shoot once, but then the shooting sound would keep going, and that's not right, so that's why you had to do play one shot. Another thing I did was, so this mission text thing here, it's still a work in progress. So I wanted to have a mission test when you text when you win or lose the game. So when you win, this one would pop up. This is still not done. I'm doing concepts for the XP bar at the moment. If you want to see that, I can bring that up in a second. But the mission text, I referenced the text controller script. So as you can see, this text here is pretty much the same as the text in here, because it works in somewhat the same way. But I'm still working on this obviously, and I need to reference Unity Engine UI and event systems. I'm not too sure about event systems, I don't think I need that. But I need the UI, since I need to edit the text on the UI to say either you win or you lose. And I'd need to make it detect whether the player is dead, so it puts on the text. Other than that, I don't think I've done much. So this here was me and Rob trying to figure out how to make the bullet curve, because we were trying to make the bullet curve with the enemy, but I don't think I'd be able to. I think that's everything at the moment. So that has been next update. Thank you for watching, and cool beans. See ya.